Welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. We've got Chris.
Don't you feel like a jerk parading around in that?
We've got Vince.
Wanted by the police from Maine to Mexico.
Oh, and I'm Kia. Hi, welcome to the show. So today we're reading Big Hero 6. We're also going to read Amazing Spider-Man number 4. We've been reading all the Amazing Spider-Mans. All of them? Well, first 12. We'll see how far we go.
I mean, we have been going for 6 years. I mean, I don't know how long that would take us to get through every single issue of Amazing Spider-Man, but it might take a while.
If we read one every 2 weeks, it would take us a long time.
800 weeks.
800, yeah. We have... So we're reading Big Hero 6, which was also... Okay, so it was a movie. Most people have heard of the movie, right?
Right.
It was a Disney... Did Disney made it?
Yes, mm-hmm. Disney animated film, not
Pixar.
Not Pixar, yes.
Right. And it was in like 2014 or something. But before that, it was a 5-issue miniseries in 2008 written by Chris Claremont, famous for writing good comics at some point. We also have
40 years earlier.
Yeah. We also this was also not the first appearance of the team. First, it was Sunfire and Big Hero 6 in the late 90s for 3 issues. We're reading the 5-issue one in the middle, which might have been the worst choice. There's also maybe a one-shot. I don't know. I couldn't tell if there was another one-shot out there. I don't care. I stopped looking into it. This thing is weird, yo. This is the weirdest book. Go ahead, Vince.
Yeah, well, because we're doing this because it's our 6th anniversary. Woohoo! Yay! We've made it 6 years.
The happy 6. Happy 6.
Happy 6th year anniversary. But like the Big Hero 6 movie is fantastic, and I remember seeing like the miniseries on comic stands, and I'm like, I'm not really interested in that, but okay. And the movie, from my understanding, is basically Disney acquired Marvel in 2009, and they told all their different studios, see what you can mine for IP. Specifically, they told their animation department. And their animation department's like, well, we can't do Fantastic Four, X-Men at all because, you know, it's licensed out. And Spider-Man, we can't do that. And we don't really want to do the Avengers because we don't want to conflict with what they're doing in the live action films. So there's a limited world.
They do make it the TV show Avengers Assemble and cancel the best Avengers show, Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
I heard that one was good. So anyways, there's a very limited thing, and one of the guys was like, well, I liked the title, and I can't tell if he liked, when he said I liked the title, if he meant like just the name Big Hero 6, or if he was referring to the book as the title. But either way, the head of story for this thing said, I only read a few issues of it. I didn't read all of it. And I'm like, there's only 8 issues, but I get it, man. I wouldn't have read it all either.
I wouldn't have read it all.
They didn't pull out the Alpha Flight Big Hero 6 annual.
Oh man.
and the screenwriter says, I've never read the comic. And so which just makes me think, why did you make a Big Hero 6 movie that has nothing to do except character names and powers, but nothing else?
You could have given them such better names as well. Like, I'm confused by a lot of stuff in this book. And we should mention, like, I guess most of these characters were created by Scott Lobdell.
Okay.
We've never read any Exiles by him either, have we? That'd be another good one to put on the list.
We literally just spent 20 minutes trying to figure out what next episode should be, and then every time we get into these episodes, we're like, we should do Exiles.
Oh, we should do that.
Yeah, we have done at least one Exiles before, though, I think, haven't we? It seems like we have.
I mean, it may have been like as part of something, but we've never explicitly done Exiles. I'm putting that literally on the list if it's not there.
Put it on the list. So this thing was created by him. It's a Japanese superhero team, right? And I'm trying. Is it like racist to give your characters all named after Japanese foods or like flavors? Because there's wasabi no ginger, there's honey lemon, and there's go-go tamago. And I'm very confused by this. Like, why? What?
Yeah, I can't tell. I don't know who this book is for. I mean, it's written by Chris Claremont, who is an established American Marvel writer, writing about a Japanese team, which is, that's in his wheelhouse for his like X-Men, like fairly like
but it wasn't
multinational company.
Chris said 40 years ago. That was forever ago. It's 2008. This guy doesn't know anything about teenagers.
And I remember the Marvel Mangaverse, which I don't think this is part of, which was like Marvel trying to like do some type of play into manga.
Yeah, that was slightly before this.
It was like a different alternate universe, a different universe number or whatever, and it's just like retellings of their heroes. as opposed to this, which I believe is 616.
It is,
Yes.
but like Runaways was similar to this, where I mean, it had like kind of like a more manga influenced artist, but it was still set in the Marvel universe. Although Runaways is good.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the big difference.
Yeah,
is Runaways is good.
Runaways is good. We do need to start getting into this so the audience has some sort of inclination of why is this thing so bad. It is hard to describe, but like I think Chris Claremont is a big part of it, and like it feels like this book was written it was procedurally generated in Japanese and then translated back to English. Like it just jumps from thing to thing. And I think nothing in the first issue is like, oh, this is so bad. This is so bad. I can't wait to like point this out. It's like, it just kind of goes weirdly and everything is generic. I don't care about anyone in this book.
No, okay. So yeah, like to get down to it, it is Japan's premier superhero team. Again, a very interesting concept. And then they come to New York. Again,
Why?
Why is this written for an American audience? If this was written for a Japanese audience, that would be interesting to see. Like, our premier team going international. That's interesting. But why?
Yeah, because we very rarely, except when the X-Men show up in Madripoor or whatever, we very rarely see what the 616 Japan is like. Why not? Like, it's a chance
that would
to
have been the best part.
It's a chance to write new villains, to have new things, and then you can introduce like Silver Samurai or Sunfire as like a cameo because they were apparently in the original concept. And those are like, again, the X-Men characters we know. But instead they go to America. Why?
Well, here's the thing. It would make sense if there were a lot of important story beats around that. And there really aren't. Like, there's nothing in this book that you couldn't have just done in Japan.
Yeah, they have to protect a professor and his daughter. And it's like, yeah, you know what they have plenty of in Japan? Professors and their daughters.
They got tons of them over there. Everywhere I'm looking, it's a professor and his daughter.
It's not that unique to America that it's like, oh, he's an expat or whatever. It's like, who cares?
It's so weird. And oh, gosh. Okay, so that's issue 1. They're like setting up, we meet the team. We don't learn anything about anyone else on the team other than that they stand there. And that's it.
Like,
they go. Okay.
I don't know.
Let's introduce who these people are. Yeah. There's 6 of them.
So Hiro is our main character, Hiro.
Yes, which the TV show Heroes would steal this idea completely. I'm sure it's not original, but
yes, he has this robot that he has built called Baymax, who looks like a big kind of burly human because he's all computer and stuff, you know.
And he wears like a bowler
in the movie
hat. Yeah, I don't know if I need to give a baseline for what the movie is to say how wildly this deviates.
Yes.
Yeah, let's not even get into the movie then. Okay,
cool.
I do like the idea of Baymax. He looks like a guy, but then he like robots out. That's fine. That's a cool idea for a character.
In the original 3-issue miniseries, he turned into like a big dragon thing as well. I'm like, why'd y'all get rid of that? Dragon seems fine.
Yeah, I guess because another character who we'll get to
needs to turn into a dragon. There's only so many powers.
Oh God! And then Fred, there's just a random dude named Fred. Nobody's introduced well. Nobody
Fred shows up in issue 2.
Go Tamago and Honey Lemon. They're the girls on the team, and they don't have personalities. I don't think. They're just stand next to each other and they tease the main character. Cool.
They are literally, I mean, like something out of anime. They are anime girls. Especially Honey Lemon. She does nothing, and then Go-Go's like the sporty spice of the group. I guess
this is Chris Claremont thinking he's writing something in like a manga style. Mm-hmm. I think maybe that's it.
That's my biggest criticism. I'm like if you were importing, like, you know, if you were asking, like, you know, a big manga artist to then write a play, you know, make a play to write something in English, you know, that would be something, or a big Japanophile to write something in English to try to like lure, because manga's big, obviously, in comics, and you'd want to like take a piece off of that. So I can understand wanting to write like a manga influenced comic for Marvel.
And again, like Wolverine is like the original weeaboo. Right. So I do think Chris Claremont probably knew something about Japanese culture, again, 35 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Jeez,
But yeah, I think that's his frame of reference for like, if he's drawing this from like manga or anime, I feel like it's like 80s manga or anime.
So the artist we need to mention as well is David Nakayama. It's fine. It has David Nakayama. It's a pretty standard anime style. Nothing particularly special about it. But I will say that it doesn't feel like he and Chris Claremont communicated at all. Like it feels like there's very little coordination between the art and the panels. Like the very first splash page has this like action thing, like, hey, everyone's dropping into action. And the narration bubbles are about the attacks on Hiroshima and Nagasaki at the end of World War II. And Japan is like a newer, like it never matches. There's another one I pointed out for myself where it's our first big fight in the first issue where Baymax is like punching the villain, and it's a big single panel like punch, but Baymax is like delivering a monologue during it never vibes for me. It doesn't feel like anything flows right. Everything in this comic is a disaster. I'm so like I can't stop being mad at it because it's like basic storytelling stuff sometimes. Like, what are y'all doing?
Also, Adam Warren, I think, does a cover, and somebody else, Warren, does like the coloring. I don't know if that's a relation, but it is funny because it's like, yeah, Adam Warren would make more sense to draw this book.
We have we didn't mention all the characters. Yeah, so Wasabi no Ginger is like basically Beast when he doesn't have hair.
Yeah, he's a sushi beast.
But he's sushi. And he's not. He isn't sushi. He likes sushi. He cooks sushi. The only piece of culture shock throughout this entire book is when he is trying to make sushi in the gym while the football team is practicing, and I actually kind of like that moment. And it was maybe the only interesting moment in the book for me.
It's funny because again, his character, and I guess that's true of like Nightcrawler and Colossus to an extent, but it's like his character likes sushi.
Yeah, that's it.
That's about all we know. Is he's very good. He throws like psychic knives or whatever, and he likes sushi.
So the kids, did we mention all of them? They also have a leader. What's her name? Miss Fury, something like that.
Yeah,
she's a lady. She's a lady in the shadows at first, watching on a TV screen. There's a screen. Okay, there's two scenes back to back where Hiro, our main character, is monitoring everything on computer screens, and then we jump to this other lady who's monitoring him on computer screens. And I'm just like, everybody's just monitoring everything on computer screens. Is that this book?
Yep, it's Japan.
It's actually COVID. I think that's how our lives are right now, anyways. So.
Also, Hiro has Google Glass, like a huge nerd.
Yes, yeah. I did think there was another moment where I thought there was going to be a cool scene where he's seeing himself in his Google Glass, and I thought it was going to be like a villain who's surveilling on him and like giving him hints, like, "Hey, motherfucker, I fucking see you right here." But nah, it was just like a girl, and they had to meet cute because her glasses were interfering with his.
Yep.
It was a professor's daughter who they're trying to protect.
Exactly.
I got most of the story from the recaps in this.
I'm not gonna lie, yeah.
I had no idea what was happening throughout any of this. They go to America. They go undercover.
Well, yeah. So three people attack. They get in a big superhero fight. Yeah. And then at the end of it, they like turn back into regular people and don't know what happened. And they're like, "That's suspicious. Okay, that probably won't come up again later."
And then they say, "Oh, it turns out that was a distraction so they could steal a thing from another place." Oh, no. And then the next thing they're going to do is in New York. So we got to go to New York. Okay. So they go to New York. And in issue 2 now, they're undercover at a high school, right? They are 5 random Japanese kids who just showed up at
the same high school.
The same high school.
Even though only Hiro should actually be a high school student, the rest of them are adults.
Why do they all need to be enrolled at a school? Can't they just go there? Like, can't they just go to New York? I don't know. But they're undercover. They're very openly like using a lot of their stuff during the football game. Especially, we're jumping ahead, I think, to the football game issue. But spoiler alert: there's a whole issue about a football game.
That's what makes me think that there was at least this is pitched as secretly manga for people who are afraid of manga, because this does read like a old school kind of like school manga, and it's like, why is it a superhero comic that the first 2 or 3 issues are like a school manga? Doesn't make it like Hero's getting teased by the girls. He has this double identity that he can't reveal who he is, blah blah blah, and it's just like, for what? Like, because then he goes to New York and he meets the professor's daughter, and there's no like school scenes. It's just a football scene with
Don't
Go-Go.
need to be in America at all.
Well, I mean,
Go-Go.
Yeah,
Gogo loves American football for some reason, and like is so much better than everybody that it's like, what are we even doing here?
But that gets to my point though of like, but who is this for? Because if it's for people who are afraid of reading manga and they want to feel safe reading Chris Claremont, Marvel doesn't have any other manga for you to then read. If then suddenly you feel like, oh well, I've dipped my toe in, I feel good, I'm gonna go read Tokyo Pop now. Like there's no transaction there. The only thing I can see is that they're trying to steal people from those audiences and put them in the Marvel universe.
I really do think maybe it is that they're trying to get more Japanese fans on board, and I don't think this is going to do it. But
I
maybe
wouldn't
that's their
recruit
goal.
Chris Claremont to do that. Like Chris Claremont, legend, absolute legend. This is not like his wheelhouse, though.
Well, before this, the latest Chris Claremont thing I had read was like his Excalibur from Around House of M, and I read it and I was like, "Ooh, Chris Claremont, you should have retired like 10 years ago."
I do remember that. I remember talking to like my comic shop owner at the time, because I remember being like, so cool. Like, who's even reading this Claremont stuff? And there are people about 10 years older than us that just like their old school comics, like loved Claremont, still read all this stuff. So I get it, but like I don't see them reading this though. Like again, like even that type of people, that audience that wants like classic Excalibur comics in the mid 2000s isn't going to get it from this.
No.
I mean, I think obviously, I mean, I don't have the sales figures in front of me, but we didn't mention this was the first issue cover says 1 of 6, and I think by issue 3 it's like 3 of 5. So
yeah, like, ooh, lost an issue in there somewhere.
Because I think there's an assistant editor's note, and he's like, we only have 5 issues. I know you would think it would have 6, but we're silly.
There's so much that doesn't get cleaned up at the end either. It just rushes itself to the weirdest. Okay, we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah, and these issues have like backups for some reason. There's like they have reprints, and some of them have text stories, which I did not read.
I didn't read any of that. Nope.
Somebody cared a lot. Funny, I am not one of those people, though.
It's funny, too, because issue 2, I think, has a backup story with the Corruptor, a minor villain who's been in a few things in like the 2010s. I think Ed Brubaker brought him back. Somebody brought him back. But he's basically like a guy with red eyes and blue skin that if he touches you, he can turn you evil. And I was like, oh, that's going to be who the villain is. That's what they're setting up. Nope.
Okay, I just flipped over to it, and cool, great. It's like an old Sunfire story, but it is like a bank robbery thing in Japan, and instead of his bags of money having dollar signs on them, they have giant yen symbols on them, and that makes me happy.
Yes.
That makes me very happy.
I will say, though, the backups, though, they do have like whatever Marvel Universe Encyclopedia. They have like the 2-pager things, prose things about each character. So like at least you can do that like kind of background of like who is this Fred guy, who is Go-Go, who is Hero in the Marvel Universe. I mean, it does a pretty good job of telling you all the BS, and then you get about midway through and you're like, okay, well some nonsense happened with the Hellfire Club, and then they were corrupted and blah 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 blah, and I don't care anymore. But it's nice that is there for a team that a lot of people probably don't know about. So I do appreciate that if this book was good.
I don't know how you could really like these characters. And again, the first series, which I didn't read all of, but I read the first issue of the 1999 series, it focuses just on Hero. And it knows, like the movie does, like this should be the guy, like...
Yeah.
The movie, I'm going to talk about the movie, like legitimately, it's called Big Hero 6. I thought that maybe that was the model number of Baymax, even after watching the movie, because they don't explicitly call themselves the Big Hero 6 until like a wink
in this big
until a wink and a nod is like, what should we call ourselves? And then like the logo Big Hero 6 pops up. It's literally a movie about Hero and his dead brother's college friends who watch over Hero. Like that's the movie, and so they are just like extra cannon fodder in fight scenes. Like they're not a team. It's Hero's story with 4 other people and then his robot, Baymax. Like that's what it is.
That's it.
Right.
And it works.
And that makes sense because again, Baymax and Hero are like the 2 best characters. Baymax has the best power set, and Hero is the character that is, a child reading this would identify with. And then like the rest of it is just like what,
like bright light powers. Like that's all you need.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Who was Fred? Is like their American liaison on the team.
Yeah,
and
he's born in Japan, but like on a U.S. military base or something. So he's American, but he speaks Japanese.
I see. He is also always wearing this Devil Dinosaur T-shirt, which is very clearly not drawn by the artist and is like photoshopped in or something. Yep. And it's really weird. It stands out. I don't like it.
I hate screen printed T-shirts. I really do.
Oh, it's
like
so gross.
In comics, it's like this is not the right resolution, guys. What
yeah,
are you doing?
It looks wrong. This is totally wrong. Fix it.
Yep. Have it be a crude drawing. That's fine.
His power is that like the ghost of a dragon or something sometimes shows up around him. They didn't clarify what it is or what it does, so I don't know.
Yep.
I like him much more in the movie. He is just a dude like in a football mascot costume that also breathes fire.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah. It's perfect. It's great.
It's big and fuzzy. It's awesome.
He gets in a fight with Go-Go in issue 2 that goes on way too long. It's like 10 pages of issue 2 is Go-Go and Fred fighting, and it's just like, oh, these characters we all know and love. I guess we're being introduced to Fred, and this is how we know that Go-Go again is the sporty spice of the two girls.
Is this when they play football in a basketball court?
No, this is when they're having breakfast, and like she tries to like fake trip him, and then his reflexes are too good, and so she then gets in a battle with him for no reason.
Oh, no reason at all.
And like the whole team gets involved. Like Baymax has to finally like break it up. Like it just goes on and on.
That's my name for this book. No reason at all. That's just all of it. We do see there's a dude in a shadow who's now peering on them, and I guess he's the bad guy. I don't know if we ever even met him.
A lady in the shadows, it turns out, I guess.
Is it a lady in the shadows? Yeah, there's stuff. We have the end of this issue. They are in the gym now because it's raining. The football team can't practice outside, so they're practicing inside. And it turns out Go-Go is amazing at football, and she loves it. She's like the speed demon of the group, but she's got like a suit that she wears that gives her strength,
right?
Or speed. I don't know. But he's a natural. Wasabi no Ginger is also great at it. So they're like, hey, congratulations, you're on the team now. Because Dragon Fred, he is the coach.
Yeah, he's like a student.
He's a
coach
student
or
coach.
Something?
That's what it is. Yeah. And he's like their liaison on the team. And I thought they were undercover, but he's just like unleashing this big dragon thing in the middle of the arena, in the middle of the gym. So I don't even know what undercover means anymore.
It seems like he can't quite control it. I'll give him a break on that one.
Okay. But everyone saw this, right? Everyone knows.
They think they saw it, and then it's one of those like rainbow type effects where from a different angle you don't see it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Then
of a dinosaur ghost.
And then Go-Go. So Hero is like, hey, we're on a mission here. I thought you wanted to like leave and go home, but I guess we can just like work on the mission. And she says, but these people need us, and as heroes we have to step in and be on their football team or some shit. I don't know.
I'm okay with this. Like in concept, like I mean, this is Claremont playing the hits, and he's not playing them well. But I could see all of this being in an X book, being like, yeah. Better told I'd be on board with this.
I could 100. They even mention later in the book, someone's like, God, I wish we had like a weather person on our team like the X-Men do. And I was like, yeah, that's Chris Claremont saying he doesn't know how to get out of this. He wishes he had a weather thing. I don't know. The rain accomplished nothing other than getting the football team in there with them. But it could have just been like, just have them out there near the football team, or have them join the basketball team. It doesn't matter. What's this weird ass complication?
Or you could have done like we did in Lock and Key last episode. Like, hey, you're big. Maybe you should try out for the hockey team. Okay, bye. My name is Brinker Martin, or whatever his name was.
It's this weird, convoluted. Nobody talks the way that a real person would. Oh yeah.
Well, let's just get to issue 3 where they spend literally 10 pages playing football, and the narration explains how football is played.
Yeah, my favorite aspect of this is that Hero is in like the announcing booth. Again, Hero is from Japan. He's been in America for like a week.
How is he in the announcing booth? And he's just like walking around during halftime, like, you know, holding his girlfriend's hand or whatever. And I'm like, what? Are you on a date here? Or are you commentating on the game during your first fucking day in America? What?
It's so stupid. And it's like, Go-Go's like amazing. She's like the best football player who ever was a girl.
A lot of Mary Sue's in this book. A lot of Mary Sue.
But then like it's this dramatic thing where they're winning like 17-10. I'm like, how are they stopping them at all? Like I feel like it should be a touchdown every time.
They're like, this game is a nail biter, and I'm like, that's it. This must be but like all I see is good offensive plays in these 10 pages that they give me about the football. And
I mean, if Wasabi and Go-Go are so good, they should be winning like 45-5. I mean, it should not even be
expecting it to be like in the 90s to 10 or something. Like something
yeah,
ridiculous.
So Honey Lemon is not super into it, but she's a cheerleader on the side. And during halftime, she gets caught by the bad guy. And she gets like mind controlled into being evil now. And the villain says, "Hey, let's go do evil things."
These are also high schoolers, right? Based on how they're dressed, right?
I like I said, I think everyone except Hero is an adult. I'm going to assume that. Okay. Honey Lemon throughout this issue is dressed ridiculously.
Okay.
Yeah, she gets sluttier when she becomes evil because that's how villains do.
That's how Claremont writes. That's a Claremont burn touch.
Yes. And she started in a cheerleader outfit. So that's the baseline.
Baseline, yeah. But she becomes Whiplash now. I don't know if it's the same type of Whiplash as we've seen before in Iron Man and stuff, but she becomes Whiplash.
She's getting possessed by these 3 villains that are, I guess, the bad guys is making.
Now Baymax, we didn't mention, has been monitoring everything. Like, this book has a big cool robot, and all it's done is just like been, standing there being like, yeah, things are cool here, things are cool there. Don't worry, everyone. I'll watch this. No, it's fine. You don't have to worry about a plot. I'm keeping track of the plot. I'll let you know when it's important. He can't stand on the bleachers because he's too heavy, and if he gets up on the bleachers, he'll crash right down through them. Oh, well. Anyways, they end up getting on a small boat afterwards with Baymax, who that's no problem for him because they have to go rescue Honey Lemon. No, I'm missing something. The professor is such a side thought for this because I'm like, why are there's so many characters in this and no development? There's a professor.
Why are they in Japan? Why are they in America?
Yeah, they're in Long Island, by the way. I don't know if we mentioned.
Are they in Long Island to watch the professor?
Yes.
But then their liaison's like, y'all go play football. I'll watch the professor right now.
Well, the professor's there in the first half of the game.
Yeah, the professor's watching the game and says, "Oh, they need me to go do a thing over here. Let's go do a thing."
And then their liaison lady was like, "I'll watch him."
She's like the leader of the group. She's like the adult leader of the group, but I can't tell if she's an adult. I don't know. They don't refer to her as an adult later at the police station because they only refer to the professor as an adult. But she's like basically an adult, right? And she's like, "No, I'll go with you." But she says the rest of the team can stay here and play football, I guess. She doesn't care.
You have one job when you're coming to America, then. I don't get it.
Yeah. Right at the end of the football game, Baymax is like trying to get everyone's attention. Finally gets them, and they get on this boat and they head over to Plum Island. I don't know where it is. I don't know how far it is. But they're basically there.
Where it could be in Japan.
It could be anywhere.
Well, that's issue 4. The end of issue 3 is Honey Lemon dressed even more skimpily, distracts a bunch of guys, and then murders them, and then is like, everything's fine over here, right? So she is, I guess, going to attack the professor. So that that's setting up, I guess, issue 4 when they get in a big fight, and then they're like, I think I know who this is, and it's like, the person who it looks exactly like.
Yeah. They do eventually. I think I'm getting my issues mixed up here, but also somewhere in there they brainwash the other two, the adult liaison and the professor.
Yes.
And so it's like half the team is fighting the other half of the team.
Yeah, and that causes the adult liaison's pants to disappear. So she's wearing like swimsuit bottoms.
And the professor like hulks out.
Yeah, the professor is very buff.
Yeah, cool stuff. Not really.
Hey, this backup though does have 3 pages explaining the rules of football in prose as a play to the assistant editor. Again, if we were trying to lure people who were into manga over to the Marvel Universe, explaining American football might make sense in like a super technical way. If you're like really like, hey, weebs, come learn about America. I'm like, but still, like, I don't get it.
You know, whatever happened to NFL Super Pro? That's what I want to know. He would have been great in this story. He could have been the coach. He could have been the opposing team's like retired.
That
might be hard to find, but we could read that.
I hate criticizing a book for what it is and shouldn't be, but here I am, and here we are doing this. Like, this is not a fish out of water story either. There's no like.
It's nothing.
No. Yeah, there's no like culture shock.
It's not a story at all.
Hey, there's so much story in this issue-long fight scene coming up.
Okay, this is an issue-long fight scene on this island. The only thing I wrote is that during the fight, Hero and Maris. Oh, Maris is the professor's daughter, who's like his girlfriend.
Yes. She's also Niles' wife.
Yes. Yeah. She's almost as good and smart as Hero, but not quite because she's a girl.
Correct.
Yeah. During the fight, Hero and Maris go inside to find the real thing or something. That's what I wrote. Okay. They're not distracted by the fight. They're going inside to find the real thing or something. And then the cliffhanger is aliens, but they look like little robots. That's all I wrote down for this issue.
Well, they somehow was it the liaison's the one with the pirate glass eye that somehow absorbed all the bad magic or something, and that was the Deus Ex Machina to cure them.
Yes, they call the evil person who doesn't even really have a name. They just call her like Bad Girl or something like that.
Bad Gal,
Bad Gal. Yes.
I'm done. Right, I'm done writing. You've gotten my money. I've got your money. The check's been cashed.
Oh man.
We'll fix it. We'll fix it later.
And this book has such a like. Again, who is this for? This is Chris Claremont being like, you know what? I'm going to write a story about women's equality. This Go-Go character is going to be the star of the football team. And guess what? Later, Hero's going to be shocked when the villain is a girl. So much so that he does say, "You're a girl," which is like, what? Yep. I think I'm just trying to figure out Chris Claremont. That's all.
Yeah. Bad Gal like summons their handler who's been possessed with like someone with energy guns to go kill Hero. She looks like she's going to do it, but then it's a fake out and she shoots the villain and is like, yeah, I was being controlled, but I overcame it because I have a glass eye, basically. And you're like, oh, okay, good.
All right, cool. So they win the fight. I think the villain's done or something.
Yes.
And they say, great, we're done with that villain. We're walking around. And they find these little aliens. And that's the cliffhanger. But I don't know anything about them or where they came from. And it seems weird for this to be the cliffhanger at the end of issue 4.
Right. And remember, we spent half of issue 3 on a game of football that the Big Hero 6 barely won.
barely. Yeah, there's. I don't even know, but
it's literally start of issue 3 football game, end of issue 4 pages. Aliens exist.
So these aliens,
but this is not a book that's like we're gonna have a different adventure every issue, like
right,
essentially
exactly.
Like the professor, whatever they were doing. And now we've thrown a curve. It's aliens, but I'm like, there's only one issue left, guys. Like, I don't know what y'all are going to do this and how you're going to wrap this up satisfactorily. I don't know.
This last issue feels extremely rewritten because it does not make any sense.
This last issue is okay. This last issue tricked me. All right, because I started reading it. I have a lot to say about this last issue. First off, I was reading it, and they call Gogo Tamago Gogo Tanaka in this one. And I said, what? And I checked my notes, and I said, well, I wrote down Tamago. Is this because the other things were food, and I was just thinking of food? So I went back, and as I was going backwards, I saw shit, in issue 3 they call her Gogo Tanaka. And then I kept going back, but in issue 1 they call her Gogo Tamago. And back in the 1999 series they call her Gogo Tamago. So like halfway through this miniseries they just changed her name to Gogo Tanaka. Anyway,
I mean, I think that's her real name. Is that? I mean,
what?
Yeah, it's Leiko Tanaka is
what?
her name, and then Gogo Tamago is her superhero name. So they confuse everyone by sometimes
yes.
Referring to her as her name, because I guess that would.
They definitely said Gogo Tamago though. That's incorrect. Not the right combination here. Beginning of issue 5.
Her name.
I mean Gogo Tanaka. They wrote Gogo. Sorry. Okay. I'm confusing myself here. I know they messed up, and I know I'm right. Damn it. All right.
I think that can be hand waved.
They give us some actual context for what's going on at the beginning of issue 5, and I'm sitting here thinking, hey, this might actually be the best issue yet.
That was my notes halfway through this. I'm like, I'm actually enjoying this issue.
Yeah, the kids are like, everyone is at the police station or whatever government station they're at that has bars made of electricity. They are at this place. I did realize, like, wait a minute, did they forget about the aliens? But that's okay. Because they're like, hey, we see that you've, been able to help us and do all these good things and capture those bad guys. But you're also a team of superpowered people from Japan with a giant robot. So we can let most of you go, but we got to let this adult here and the robot stay. And they're like, okay, well, fine. I guess so all the kids leave. And we get like a narration bubble from Hiro saying, like, I was really worried about letting Hiro be in the jail. But then I got a message from Baymax using his super robot things, letting me know that he'd be fine. And I don't know why, like, it didn't show us that at all. I'm like, you could have shown. There's so many things this book just tells rather than shows. And that's when I started to get off board with this. We get God damn it. They let them go, and they're like, all right, well, what are we going to do? Then all the other high school kids come to the police station to start chanting for everyone to free their friends. This seems to piss off the police that are standing there, and they're like, what is all this shit? All right, fuck it, arrest them on sight. Which I thought they just let them go, but now they are looking to arrest them again. And so the kids are changing their clothes so that they can't be found by the cops. And then they go to the beach? No. Then they free the aliens, then they go to the beach. That's all I remember. That's all I remember.
I remember at one point Gogo's clothes had gotten lost, so then Honey Lemon said, I'll spend all my powers giving you clothes. And then
later had to decide. And then later had to decide, ooh, do I use powers? Even though it might take all my friends' clothes and kill her? And then she decides, no, I won't do it, which is a good decision.
I did like that little dream again, it's more manga-y things, but when she's like imagining Gogo like being in the middle of a fight and her clothes disappearing and then being killed with this like cute little what's the word,
it's like a chibi art style.
Chibi of Gogo. I was like, that's cute. I wish there had been more. Like, you waited until issue 5 to be like, what if we drew this in a Japanese kind of comedy style?
That was really fun. You're right. I'm glad you pointed that out. I totally forgot about that. There was such little fun in this book, or like moments of any kind of uniqueness or like thought or story, and it's such a shining moment.
I feel like this book is a really good lesson in you need to make your audience care, and these are ways that you can fail easily.
It's like a book that's going through all the steps and just like stumbling through all of them. Right. It's so
it's a good writer's lesson. Like, if you want they always say like study good things, but this is a good one to study and be like, how would I make this better? And then watch the movie and compare it to the book and be like, okay, that's how you make things better.
Okay. Like I'm reading the wiki summary of Gogo in the movie, and I'm like, this actually this character sounds great. Like, she likes racing. She Seems to be, you've got that side of her being the sporty spice from this book, but you also seems like she's like a scientist and is smart and has a character, whereas here she's just like the fighter, I guess, of the team.
Yeah. So we haven't even talked about my biggest problem with this book, and I need y'all to confirm this because I went back through this multiple times trying to figure this out. They never get Baymax and their teacher out of prison, do they? Like,
it seems like eventually, like, they just work out something off panel or off screen.
Well, they're at the beach chilling, and then they run towards the screen, and Baymax is now there, but he's not at the beach.
But
yeah, that's like
I think that's just like the splash of like the preview for next time of just like, hey, this team is gonna keep doing stuff. Cool.
Yeah. And there's text around that's like, eventually they let us out. What's her name made a deal with the U.S. government people to let them out.
Where is that? I swear I looked through all of the. Oh, it's on that very last page.
It's on that
Holy
image.
Shit.
Just explaining.
It's on that. Oh my god.
It's silly. They don't show this at all. They end the story in jail, I guess. They do, I guess, while the people are distracted and they're at the beach. They're like, we're gonna arrest these kids for the crime of I don't know what.
I don't know. They let them go.
Lying about being superheroes. But then a spaceship takes off, and it turns out that they didn't just forget the cliffhanger of the last issue. That the Big Hero 6 was helping these aliens, I guess. I
don't understand the aliens at all. Like they needed. I don't know.
This may be a new contender for worst comic we've ever read compared to Spider-Man Venom Maximum Carnage.
With that one is on the okay. We have to like start putting together a short list of the worst ones we've read here for sure, because this is up there. This one, Brandach and
Brandach. I was thinking that's right up there.
Those are three of the worst ones for sure. It's been a while since we had one this bad though. Ooh. It was rough.
This was a rough bad comic. I'm sorry, guys.
It is fun, but it is fun though.
Okay.
I mean, fun, like. Yeah. I think, and I have a bad movie podcast, so I'm biased. I think it's helpful to read comics that don't work because you can see like the seams and where stuff didn't really work out and where there's like I said, I think this last issue is heavily rewritten because they realized like, oh shit, we're out of time.
Right. That's interesting.
But I think that's interesting to see because when comics are good, you don't see like what's going into like the plotting and the planning and like where things are working. But when they don't work, they kind of stick out and you kind of see the machinery. And so I think it's cool to kind of learn from like, why don't I care about any of these characters? Why didn't this work? Like I like the designs. I do like the art. I think it's a lot better than the original series art where they just had some guy, I think a Puerto Rican artist did the original designs for them, and I think that these designs are better because he did redesign everybody. They're still not great, really, but they're
pretty. They're fairly generic, but it works.
I think that's a function of like not having anybody from Japan coming up with like what Japanese characters from the 2000s would be their gimmick, and so there's way too much food. Like it's a lot of California writers like Scott Lobdell being like, "Oh yeah, I've had sushi."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ooh yeah, California roll. That's a good name for a superhero.
Wasabi no ginger.
Wasabi no ginger is like that name makes me mad. It's so dumb.
Bad.
It's
like latte no milk or something.
And like. At least in the movie, they like write it off as the Wasabi character. Like, oh, I got it on my shirt once. They didn't explain Honey Lemon. I think Go-Go they left as just Go-Go instead of Go-Go Tamago.
Tamago might be in there. It's definitely in the IMDb. It's just Go-Go. But yeah, like Wasabi is played by Damon Wayans Jr. And I think he has his like laser beams and he throws food to demo his powers. So like there is like a slight homage to like the character of the comics. But that's all they give to it,
Sure.
Food.
That's fine.
But the green laser beams work. The green laser sword stuff, that's cool. I'm fine with
Yeah,
that.
I think lasers always work, dude.
Yeah, I think that they do a really good job. I haven't seen the movie or the TV show, which has like 3 seasons apparently.
Yeah, it just got canceled. And but yeah,
Oh.
the show was a little slow paced, but 56 episodes, which blows my mind.
So I'm a little confused that IDW is now publishing the Big Hero 6 comics that are currently coming out,
right?
Because they've got the deal with Disney, but Disney's got their thing with Marvel. But isn't IDW also doing a lot of stuff with DC? Didn't we just read something? I feel like the whole world's coming together.
IDWs do. I mean, IDW seems to be like the place where licensed comics go. The way like Dark Horse used to have a ton of licensed comics. Yeah. Like I think Ghostbusters comics are there. I want to say that before Disney bought Marvel, they had like a deal with what was it? Boom Comics to make stuff based on their cartoons. Like I remember there being like DuckTales and Darkwing Duck comics. And I don't know if all those went over to IDW also. Like, I don't know if there are DuckTales comics, who makes them. I don't think it's Marvel.
It's so strange. Like, you've got this monopoly, and you're like, we don't even care enough to use it.
Right. Or just, like, efficiencies of marketing and publishing. Just using your printers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I don't understand. I mean, I guess it's... you look at it and you say like, oh, DuckTales doesn't sell as much as X-Men, but it's like, it's also because DuckTales isn't available everywhere X-Men is. Like, it's a specialty book because it's not a Marvel book.
Well, you know what it is too? IDW probably makes comics that like Disney is like, no, none of this shit is important. We know. Just put stuff that has these names on it and do it. And they're like, Marvel, we get it. You guys want to keep doing your thing, do your thing. We own the names of all your heroes now. We're gonna let IDW do Big Hero 6. We think they do a better job. Y'all keep inventing new heroes if you want. Do whatever you want. That's in my head canon. Disney does not care about what Marvel comics are actually doing.
Yeah. And I am right. There was like 20 issues of a DuckTales IDW comic that ended in 2019. So yeah.
Just imagine if every character from the all new, all different X-Men had just been named after food. Like if Wolverine was just named Poutine.
Ooh, Poutine.
I'd be into that.
Nightcrawler would be something German.
Bratwurst.
Yeah,
sure.
Straight up sauerkraut, I think would be his name. Yeah.
I am the incredible sauerkraut of the Munich
That sounds
service.
right to me.
Amazing. This is a great idea. This is what they should have done.
Should we just jump forward to Amazing Spider-Man now? I think I have nothing else to say about Big Hero 6. Watch the movie. It's fine. I did feel like the movie was fine. I didn't love it or anything. I didn't watch all of it.
I had low expectations for it. I'm like, okay, fine. I do love that at the stinger though at the very end is Fred is like this super rich dude, rich American, and then at the end you see a painting of him and his family, and Stan Lee is his dad, in the painting, and that's the stinger.
Cute. That's cute.
I
like that.
That's cute. Is that the Stan Lee cameo? Yep. I guess for the movie.
Wow. Wonderful. So we're on to Amazing. Oh wait, no, we got to ask: are you going to read any more Big Hero 6?
No.
I mean, honestly, I have not watched the TV show or seen the movie. I will watch the movie based on this. Right. I am at least curious how they improved it for the movie.
It's a whole new story, dude. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, Hero lives with his aunt, not his mom. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like that was a choice y'all made.
So many literal changes. Yeah, and you didn't need this IP to tell that story at all. You just give them any names and like, oh man.
That's what I want to know, if like they started with a Big Hero 6 and then like literally days into the pitch they're like, we got to throw out everything because this is
Yeah, like I want to know how gradually this shift happened, or if it was from the start when someone told him like, hey, like this guy was assigned to write a Big Hero 6 movie and he had to read the comics, and that guy and he said, fuck this, no, and I'll write it and I'll tell them I wrote it and I read it and it's good enough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny too because normally you're so used to like everyone in Hollywood just lying and being like, "Oh, of course, I love Captain America comics. I grew up reading them." It's like, no, you didn't. Nobody did. Like, it's not even like the 5th most popular Marvel comic.
I loved Iron Man since I was a little kid. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Like Iron Man was like C tier at best.
Nobody liked Iron Man.
No, they didn't.
Until now. All right, let's get to Spider-Man. Everybody loves Spider-Man. They're so excited at the beginning of this issue to have hit 4 issues. They're like, "Oh my God, Spider-Man's so popular! Thanks, readers. Here's another story. Look forward to it." It's very nice to get these introductory pages. Like, it's gonna be a story about Sandman. We're having a great time. Hope you are too. Let's do it.
Are they bi-monthly still, or are they now monthly, Chris?
I think they're still bi-monthly, but I think in the letters page they are like, maybe we're gonna go monthly, and it's pretty soon here. They're monthly.
Okay. So they this story starts with Spider-Man, like, he's out on the prowl. On the prowl? That's not right. He's standing guard atop buildings. What is he doing? He's watching, and he's like, "All right, business shutting down. Three crooks gonna go sneak into that building, steal some stuff." And so he jumps down to stop them, and these criminals are fucking genius. This one guy says, "Excuse me, we're just 3 men walking down the street. Spider-Man trying to catch us." And he starts calling on for the cops, and the cops show up.
That's assault and battery. We've done nothing.
Yeah. And Spider-Man's like, "Shit, he's right. He didn't do anything. I should have waited for them to break in before I stopped him." So he gets out of there, and the cops are like, "Yeah, y'all look kind of shifty. I would have stopped y'all too if I was Spider-Man," which I liked. Spider-Man runs into Sandman on a roof. He's heard of Sandman on TV, on the news, and they're having a nice little fight. But he tears his mask and he has to run away. He's got. I really like the panel of Spider-Man fearing what will happen if he loses his mask and everyone learns who he is.
Panel of the week. It's amazing.
Again, yeah. Much like the one part in Big Hero 6 I liked, where Honey Lemon was imagining Go-Go losing her powers suddenly. It's Peter just being like, "Oh no, Aunt May will have to sell shoelaces."
You hear that, comic book creators?
A prison cell with no mask, and then Aunt May is selling shoelaces with like a little like head thing to show that she's poor and sad.
Oh. But listen, comic creators, if you want to get that Chris market, put more imagination scenes in your comic books. Chris will eat them up. He loves them.
More comedy dream scenes, specifically.
Yeah. More comedy dream scenes.
It turns out it's my favorite thing. It's in both of these issues I liked, and everything I didn't like was missing it.
So Sandman is like yelling at Spider-Man, like, "Hey, come back here, coward!" But Spider-Man has to run home. He's trying to sew up his mask manually, and he's, we don't have the who's the guy in Marvel who makes all the costumes? What's that guy's name?
Not the Tinkerer. What's his name? Is it Melvin Potter?
Yeah, Melvin Potter. They he doesn't exist in the Marvel universe yet, so Spider-Man's got to sew his own masks. And the news are talking about the Sandman. The news gives a very detailed origin of the Sandman.
They know a lot. They know a lot.
They know
a lot.
They know a lot. I don't know how they know all of this because, I think that there's definitely a little bit of editorializing going on in this report. But it's basically the story that I think was in Spider-Man 3. I barely remember that movie, but Flint Marko.
For the part where he killed Uncle Ben on during his escape. Where they retconned in Spider-Man 3 that Sandman was the true murderer.
Wow, I can't believe that. Well, Sandman escaped from prison. He went and he lived in a atomic devices testing center for a little while.
Did they have footage of this, or is this like?
That's what it looks like. Footage of it, but it could just be panel descriptions.
Dramatic reenactments, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe that's not even on TV. Maybe that's just for us, the comic book reader.
Yeah. This is not like an America's Most Wanted show or anything. Okay.
But it does say, vowing never to be recaptured alive. He headed the FBI. Like, that sounds like the sort of thing that only the people who kind of know Sandman would know what he's saying.
He's getting on TV and making vows, I guess.
Yeah. But there's a big explosion at the nuclear testing site where he's staying, and he turns into Sandman. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Then Aunt May.
I don't think it counts as a Stan Lee getting names wrong, but I will say that Flint Marko is this Flint Marko? The Sandman is the first Marko that he creates. Yeah, this is Flint. In a year and a half, he creates Kane Marko, the Juggernaut.
Yeah.
And then in a couple of years after that, he creates Man Mountain Marko.
Good name. Marko, it's strong.
Yeah,
and it's memorable.
Not an error, but it is the first Stan Lee usage of a name he keeps using.
He loves it.
Marko. Yeah. So Aunt May is coming in and Peter has to hide his costume, so he throws on a robe and he's like all nervous and he's been fighting, and so of course Aunt May is like, "Oh, you look sick." And this is our first instance of Peter pretending to be sick for being Spider-Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think so. And of course, Aunt May wants to take care of her. Another similarity: Sandman has been stealing bags of money that have dollar signs on them. Good job, Sandman. Love him.
This is one of my favorite gags again. This is a classic gag.
Yeah, he's running. Go ahead, you tell it.
So he's running away from, he sees the cops. So he decides to turn into a pile of sand that covers the bag of money, and then the cops just run by him. They're like, "Oh, it's just a pile of sand. Don't worry about that. Just keep running."
It's such a simple use of Sandman, but it works so well.
Only in New York, baby.
You do get a lot of the during the fights, you get a lot of the basic sand stuff out of the way of just like, hey, all those uses of Sandman that we've seen, yep, they're all in this comic.
If I was Sandman, I would be like a beachfront robber, and then I would just look like a dune.
Yeah,
you'd just be on like the boardwalk.
Yep, stealing candy and beach bakes. I don't know.
Oh my God, people take their stuff like they just are at the beach all the time with stuff. You could steal anything.
Yeah. Perfect crime.
So, perfect crime. We have Peter is going out to school and everything. He has to go swing by J. Jonah Jameson's office after work. That's his excuse to Aunt May, because really he's going to go after the Sandman. But I forgot about it. He webbed J. Jonah Jameson's chair. Just for funsies. He really is an asshole in this.
There's an extra prank that then he forgets later. But yeah,
that feels like a goof too, because they say that his webs disappear after a couple of hours, but he did that the night before, and then J. Jonah Jameson sits in it the next day and gets stuck to it. I'm like, I don't know how that happens, Dan.
Well, it's probably different. Maybe if you do it in a concentrated area, it won't expand yet, and it'll maintain some of its stickiness in the middle, which won't get activated until J. Jonah Jameson's butt presses down.
Maybe Peter was spending more money on his webbing at this stage, and he has since improved the formula so it dissipates more quickly and is also more cheaper for him to manufacture.
Sure.
So it's lower quality. It's too high quality at this point. But either way,
too good.
It's too good. Because he was specifically like, "Oh, great! I need money to make more webs." He says that later in the issue, so it's on top of his mind. I also love that Jameson has dyed his hair again. I noticed this last issue. I noted this last issue that his hair had started off red and then went gray, and now it's back to being red. So.
Yep. Would you get confirmation from Aunt May that J. Jonah Jameson is a nice gentleman who publishes the Daily Bugle and Now Magazine? She does confirm that he publishes both. They're two separate things. We also get to see J. Jonah Jameson without pants, baby. His pants are all sticky, and so he's got to. They're sticky for a different reason because of the web, but they're all sticky, and Peter has to bring him hey.
After all that fan service for men last story, now we get something.
You know what? Betty is smart. Betty Brant.
Yeah.
I know my boss is in there with no pants. This could be a trick. I'm sending a different person in there to go deal with this. I'm not dealing with this nonsense.
And it's just a fun panel of J. Jonah Jameson, being embarrassed. But it's good that, at this point, J. Jonah Jameson is Spider-Man's main villain. He's the only one who's
been in every issue.
Yeah. And it's fun to see him eat shit, and just be embarrassed because we all hate him and he's the number one villain. So, yeah.
And if by hate, you mean love, because he's the best.
He is the best character.
Chris, you called him Stan Lee's greatest creation, I think, last episode.
I don't remember saying that, but I stand by it.
Yeah. I like it.
Like when I think about it though, like I'm like, man, Jameson is number 2 in the supporting cast in these first 4 issues. Like, absolutely.
Yeah,
he's driving the story ahead more than anything else.
It's funny how much like Flash Thompson and J. Jonah Jameson are like the real villains of this book.
Oh yeah. So speaking of Flash Thompson, he steals a date from Peter Parker. Not really. Peter Parker gives up the date himself.
When did Peter? Did I miss the page where he asked out Liz Allen, or was that just established? Like,
it was not in this book.
Yeah, it must have been off panel. Yeah, that he's got a date with Liz, which seems like his social situation's improving. But then he's like,
Flash is trying to get Liz to go on a date with him, and she's like, I already promised to Peter. He's been asking me so much. I feel sorry for him. And that's the explanation we get, is that she doesn't really want to, but she's going along with it now. But then Peter big times her, and he's like, listen, Liz, I got to study a lot. Really, he's got to go deal with Sandman. But, he's like, I can't, Liz. And she now is just mad at him. But Peter, I think secretly, that's the first step. Make him want you.
Yeah, this is some real pickup artist techniques that Peter's using. He's making her feel like he doesn't care, and now she's like, "Oh, now that he's being a jerk to me, I like."
Yeah, but she decides to accept a date with Flash Thompson instead. Peter, meanwhile, in class, is so upset. He's like, who the hell would be Spider-Man still? It's messing up everything." And because he's daydreaming in class, he has to go deliver something to the maintenance office. I don't know. He has to carry some stuff around. During that time, Sandman sneaks into the school and takes Peter's class hostage or whatever. And the teacher is standing up to Sandman. So of course Spider-Man can fly back in to save the day, and they have a big fight throughout the school. They end up down. Of course, puny Peter must have wussed out. Doesn't want to watch any fight scenes. Oh, I can't handle
scenes that play differently 50 years later after a massive school shootings at schools.
Yes.
Yeah. Peter seemed to be the only one smart.
Yeah. It's just a harmless man made out of sand who he does try to kill Spider-Man.
Yeah, I really like the scene where Spider-Man tries to punch him. He captures his arm within his own body and he headbutts Spider-Man. I thought that was a great moment. Beautiful.
Everything that Sandman does in this issue, I'm on the fucking board. I know that Doc Ock is Spider-Man's biggest villain of this era, and I wasn't too thrilled about the first issue of this. Sandman, who I've never really given much of a thought of, I'm like, all of this really good. This is also very much more supernatural villain than Peter's fought in all 5, I guess, issues if you count Amazing Fantasy 15 that he's done so far. So this is the first fantastical one.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man beats Sandman by putting him inside of a vacuum cleaner. There was a nice thing where they roll down some stairs first. I like that bubble. But he sucks him up in a vacuum cleaner, and then he says, "Oh, wait a minute! I didn't get any pictures of the fight. Hold on, there's some extra sand down here." And he throws it in the air and takes some pictures of himself punching the sand. Oh my god, I love it. I love it. It's beautiful. It's genius, Spider-Man. Good job.
Since this really happened a few minutes ago, it can't be unethical.
J. Jonah Jameson shows up and buys the film sight unseen. It's undeveloped. He takes the money to develop it out of Spider-Man's pay, so fair. And Spider-Man delivers the canister full of sand to the bad guys, and J. Jonah Jameson is asking him so many questions from down there next to the police. This scene, there's so much character in this scene of J. Jonah Jameson next to the cops, just yelling up at Spider-Man. But the cops are like, "Hey, come on down, Spider-Man, get a full report." It's and this, and this, and this, and this. No, I love J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
And by love him, I mean I hate him.
So good.
He's so good. And even the cops are like, "Listen, J. Jonah Jameson, you can print whatever you want, but Spider-Man helped us here today." And Peter says, okay, he's free. He doesn't have to fight Sandman tonight, so he can get in with Liz. And Flash is like, hey, I got her now. And he almost gets in a fight with Flash, but he's too strong. He can't fight, and so they're gonna go walking away like a nerd. Yeah.
He also calls this is a weird moment. Flash makes fun of Peter for having an umbrella because it could potentially rain. Is that something looked down upon in the 60s?
It's on May. Aunt May made him carry it earlier, and he did say, like, God, geez, imagine if they know Spider-Man had to carry an umbrella.
They
So
said
maybe
that,
it is just.
and then Flash goes, meaning yours truly, punk. You go run along with your umbrella, and I'm like,
It's like maybe there was no chance of rain that day, but Aunt May was so terrified that it might and Peter would get sicker that she made him
okay.
carry an umbrella. And like, what kind of a nerd carries an umbrella on a bright sunny day?
Okay, because I was like,
Maybe.
is it that, or is it the fact that an umbrella is just culturally a nerdy thing in the '60s? That seems weird, right? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this Peter still wears like a tie to school every day. So that makes him a nerd.
He is a fucking nerd. God, this kid.
But that's because he's got to hide his suit underneath it. But he was doing this before he had to hide his suit underneath his clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a more formal time. Men would wear hats, I guess.
That would be funny if Peter always wore like short sleeves and shorts, and then switched to suddenly wearing like 3-piece suits because he was hiding a spider suit underneath it, and the people thought he was extra nerd because of that. That'd be an interesting trait.
Do you think if when we were in high school, one of our friends, if I had started just wearing a 3-piece suit to school every day, would you have thought I was a superhero?
I don't think I would have thought you were a superhero. I would have thought Kia's weird. But...
is Kia part of one of those weird religions? Is he like
Jehovah's
Witness?
Because the thing is, it's like it would be like you weren't established. It's like if you always came like that with the briefcase on the wheels that we talked about. But no, if suddenly halfway through 10th grade you just suddenly started wearing a 3-piece suit every day after wearing like No Fear shirts for the before that, yeah, I think that
Jinko jeans and No Fear shirts,
big dog shirts.
If you can't run with the big dog, stay on the porch.
Those like carpenter pants that have like the huge pockets.
Yep.
So anyways, the end of this issue is Peter like listening to everybody read the paper, and some people like Spider-Man, but most of them hate him, and he's like just kind of sad about it. And the final panel is Spider-Man without a mask on, just looking kind of sad and mopey in front of a big web. Oh,
yeah. He's like, why am I even doing this?
A great issue. I like this one a lot. Very fun. It really, I think, does solidify. No, J. Jonah Jameson is the #1 villain here, and we're just seeing other cool stuff while Peter continues to be a high school kid who's bad at being anything, really.
And did you see in the like the letters page who the villain for the next issue is going to be?
I see it, yeah.
I see the cover. That's enough for me.
Fantastic Four's Mr. Dr. Doom. Mr. Dr. Doom is what I call him.
Mr. Dr. Doom.
Yeah, and now we are monthly because the last issue was September 63. This one's now October 63.
Yeah. Next issue is the first monthly. Yeah, and it's, Dr. Doom created in Fantastic Four #5, and now he's showing up in Spider-Man #5. He's just, he loves the #5, I guess.
Ooh, yeah, #5 kind of guy over here. Okay. Well, I'm excited for some Dr. Doom, and I'm really enjoying this one more than I think any of the other Spider-Man ones we've read so far from this. They've all been like fine. This one I think is top notch. I don't know why, just is. Sandman.
Yeah, I do think it's starting to come together as far as like J. Jonah Jameson is now like a real presence, and you're getting his hatred of Spider-Man is like so outrageous, and it's just gonna get bigger from here.
Yeah, but like Liz Allen got named and Betty got named. So.
Yeah, I'm looking at the first page of the next issue, and it's like featuring Spider-Man, Dr. Doom. And then it shows Flash Thompson, Liz Allen, and their assorted classmates. So I'm glad, they're getting a featured role as extras.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, we'll get to it. Flash Thompson is like, he gets a main role next week.
Okay. I can't wait.
Is this the one? Okay, so now that you say that, is this one where Flash is part of one of the kids that gets kidnapped or something, and then he's like, Spider-Man really is my favorite. I met Spider-Man. Is that what's going to come out of this one?
Not quite. But he is very much involved in Doctor Doom and Spider-Man's drama.
Okay.
It really centers around Flash Thompson. It's the Flash Thompson show featuring Spider-Man.
Cool.
We'll have to wait and see. So next time we're going to read that. We're also going to read. We're going back to Squadron Supreme. I think it's been enough time now that we can go into that little epilogue issue thing. what did we call it? It's a one shot from
It's
19.
called Death of a Universe.
Death of a Universe. It's part of that Marvel graphic novel series. I'm not sure which one it was, but like which number it was. But yeah, it's from 1989 is what I wrote down. I should double check
it's 5
that.
years. I remember us looking at 5 years. It was 5 years after the fact. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we finished reading Squadron Supreme a while back. Oh boy, can we summarize that in like?
No.
How would you? No, I don't know how I would summarize Squadron Supreme at all, but we loved it. We read it one issue at a time. So we definitely want to read this follow-up to it, Squadron Supreme: Death of a Universe. I think I guess it imagines what the remaining superheroes are doing in this world now that Utopia has maybe kind of been formed. I don't know.
The line that they say in Marvel Unlimited is, "The Earth has but 12 hours to live," and quite frankly, like. Squadron Supreme's been rebooted so many times. Like, the stakes are high. They could lose. So
yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if we do get the death of a whole universe. That's it. Easy to describe. One issue next time. It's kind of a longer thing. I think it's 80 pages or so. So we'll do that. And Spider-Man 5. And, Jesus, that's it. What else do we got going on here? Chris, what's up with you? Your Stupid Minds? What y'all watching?
We will be having an episode, although there may be another episode of our show that comes out before ours is released. But we're going to be doing, because there's a Mortal Kombat movie on the horizon.
Nice.
We're going to be doing a classic bad movie, Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Ooh-wee. That'll be good.
Ooh, Mitch. Should we read some Mortal Kombat comics at some point?
I've been thinking about it, but I couldn't find any ones. That's why I was texting y'all about Street Fighter comics, because those were way more crazy than the Mortal Kombat comics.
Yeah. Fighting games and comics. Vince, how about you? What's going on with you?
So, fun fact, I am making a video for That Was a Game on our YouTube channel. All my friends are right here, about Mortal Kombat also. Specifically, Motor Combat, M-O-T-O-R Combat. It's a kart racing game with Mortal Kombat characters that came out in like 2007.
Wow.
Whenever you crash into a wall or fall over, it goes like... fatality. It's pretty ridiculous.
Wow.
It's
I didn't know it was a thing.
So yeah, Mortal Kombat's top of mind.
So check that out. Yeah, I'm still just streaming. You can find me on Twitch. I'm doing most mornings these days. Seems to be working out better for my schedule. But that's Kiarrash, Kiarrash. I've been playing Bowser's Fury. I really like that game. I think I was telling y'all. Big old open world games, a little too big for me these days, but Bowser's Fury, perfect size. Nice little, beautiful. Hades, we got the credits rolling on Hades. We're turning up the heat. We're getting deeper and deeper into hell. Good times there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good job.
That's it.
Cool. I finally beat Miles Morales for the PS5.
Oh, I still need to do that. Oh, on the PS5. Okay, fancy.
Jesus, God.
It's completely different. It's they have a fancy tier of ending that you only get if you've given Sony way too much money.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I want that ending. Yeah. What? I feel like there's nothing else. I feel like there's more outro that I usually do. I got nothing though. Mm-hmm. Vince, I love you.
I love you too.
Chris, I love you.
I love sushi.
I do too. So I can't fault you. Wish I had some sushi. All right. Good night, everybody. We love you. Thanks so much for listening.